Oh my gosh, you guys, I have made a big mess. I don't know how I'm going to, I can't touch this, and like this is where I film, so maybe I'll move some of these. Well, we need this. Let me move this. I'm currently painting a picture. I'm not a painter, not by any means. Where's my phone? Because it's making, oh, I'm not prepared. Can we see me better now? Okay, well I need these because we're talking about some letters I received from you guys. Ugh. Let me just, I have a lot going on. Well, let's just move all of them on the ground. Oh no, oh no, oh no. I'm painting, I'm trying to paint this picture for the man I'm in love with, and I just don't think it looks that great. Do you guys want to see it so far? It's not even done. I'm not a painter either. I mean, it looks terrible right now, so just don't judge me, but I painted a hole. Looks like this. I know it looks so bad right now, but I'm not done, and there still needs to be different colors to make the depth and everything look. There's a lot of symbolism behind it, but I'm not done. It was just something because I needed to get my mind off some things, and it helped. I spend a lot of time by myself, what can you say? You know, if I'm not reading or cooking or something and working on all these things for you guys, I need something that where I don't think because I use my brain so much. So I need something that requires like no thinking and is just purely like emotional and like letting myself breathe. And reading obviously and stuff like that doesn't always allow me to do that. Like I need a break from that too, you know. And I don't like watching TV. So don't mind my little paint mess. I got a few letters from you guys. Well, I got two, and I have 2 emails, but I know you guys love when I do these kind of like talk videos. They're not totally serious, they're just kind of touching base with you guys on a bunch of things, so I figured we would do that. So I got 2 letters. If you guys don't know, I'm trying to get rid of like most of my social media, so I like to do things old school, as we know. And I got 2 letters from you guys. If you guys ever want to mail me, the address is in the description box below or on my website, and I typically want to read the letters out loud to answer any questions. I'm very supportive of the postal system, like physical letters. There's nothing more genuine and intimate than actual letter, not a text, not an email. You know, there's something about writing letters, and I'm very pro writing letters, pro mail. She says, hi Mary Chish, because she's Polish. I love your videos. I wanted to ask you how you got so involved in the Bible. My parents raised me Catholic. I'm from Poland, a neighbor to your country, and I know you know how serious we can be, especially my grandmother, about sanity. Oh, about saints. I know you know how serious we can be, especially my grandmother, about saints. I can see your point. I can see where your point is with deception in the Roman Catholic Church, and I know you said you were going to make more videos on it, which I'm looking forward to. I'm scared my family will think I'm crazy and disown me, and I'm not sure how to handle everything, let alone I'm still processing everything you've been teaching. It's amazing how for as long as I've been going to church, I don't seem to know the Bible at all. Seems as though people like the Pope and our teachers don't either. It's all very overwhelming and confusing. I also want to say sorry for your censorship, and I share all your videos. Thanks for all you do, Golsha. Okay, well this is from Golsha, and you don't have to leave your return address on, like if you don't want me to have your address, that's totally fine. And that's why if you do not leave your address, I kind of address them in my videos. So She seems to be worried here. Thank you so much for your letter, by the way. She seems to be worried about family. Well, I know that there's never going to be someone who is genuinely saved, you know, who doesn't have family problems. There are always going to be family problems. You guys know many of my family problems I've gone through. I've done videos over the years about it, and it's just never going to be, it's never going to be something you can avoid. And I would just like to say, anyone who is going through something like this with their family, you can go to Luke, because Luke, I think Luke 12, Luke chapter 12, 50, let's start at 51, I think. What is that sound? Oh, that's my little Penelope in the backyard. I got freaked out. My window is open because my cat likes the fresh air on her little whiskers. Okay. And I heard a weird sound. Luke chapter 12, verse 51. Suppose ye that I come to give peace on earth? I tell you nay, but rather division. Okay, God is talking about how Jesus here is speaking. He's saying, you know, you think that I'm here to come peace, but rather come for division. That's why Christians, before Christians were called Christians, they were called the set apart ones, or the followers of the one way, the narrow way, which we'll talk about later. Verse 52, for from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father. The mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother. The mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Okay, so he's talking about how when you do get saved, when you do trust the word, for example, I talk about how Christmas is pagan. Your family is probably not going to want to hear that. If you're European, your family is definitely not going to hear it. I mean, Christmas is a very big part in family, European culture, eating. A lot of Europeans are Roman Catholic, and they worship saints, they pray to Mary, and it's a disgrace, especially to the older people in your family, like mothers and grandmothers, grandfathers, etc., because they're going to think that you lost your marbles, they're going to think that you lost your mind, and you could very well lose your family over things like this. But the Bible does talk about how he wants you, I mean, if that's the case, he talks about division, to expect it, and he says if that's the case, choose him over things like mothers, daughters, fathers, sons, you know, because, I mean, just to give this analogy, you were born into a family, yes? Let's say you were born into a mob family. Okay, well, what if you have the law of God written on your hearts, you know, predestined to be one of his family members? Because not everyone is part of God's family. Not everyone on earth, sorry to say, is going to go to heaven. They're just not. There are people predestined from birth that will go to heaven. There are people purposely born for the sole purpose of just going to hell. I think I want to say, I hate when I don't remember things off the top of the dome. Oh, it's 2 Peter 2:12, not second. I was close, you guys. 2 Peter 2 says this, but these as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, born to be taken and destroyed, speak of evil things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption. Meaning there's people who are literally born to go to hell. It's a big topic. These are things that will not only help you understand certain things and also kind of get rid of things of this world. And sometimes things of this world are your family. I know a lot about, you know, I get a lot of questions from you guys asking about relationships and toxic family. I have been through the ringer and all of those things since I was very, I mean, since birth, you know. It was only till I was a little older that I realized kind of things going on, and to this day I'm still realizing and coming to an understanding of toxic family, toxic relationships that I've healed from, and toxic things just in general. And usually when you grow up in toxic environments, or toxic families. And I'm not saying just because your mom or your grandma or your grandpa, for example, doesn't see what you are seeing in terms of, let's say, the corruption in Roman Catholicism, that doesn't mean they're, you know, toxic per se, but it does mean that they're toxic to your spirituality. And this is something that you don't want to play with. It's more serious than I've ever known it to be, which is why I'm constantly talking about it on my channel, and I'm constantly reading all these books and learning, because you can't know, oopsie, you can't know the Bible just by necessarily reading the Bible. You got to learn ancient cultures. I'm studying Greek and Hebrew. The New Testament was only written in Greek, and the Old Testament was written in Hebrew. So when I talk about KJV only, it's because it is the most accurate to the received text. But I don't even trust it in regards to the translations. If you know the actual Greek and Hebrew words, you can find even more understanding. This is the most credible version that you could possibly use, though. But I recommend actually learning Greek and Hebrew. It's a big thing. Learning Jewish culture, Strong's Concordance, the different wars. I have a book here on the greatness of Oliver Cromwell, and he was very corrupted throughout history, and I'm trying to read all about that because that has a lot to do with the Bible, and there's so much work involved in something like this, and it's important. So, you know, when it comes to your family, if you don't have problems with your family, you're definitely not saved, because there always will be. I mean, there's always going to be problems, big problems, not you don't get along for a day or a week. There's going to be big problems. I have another letter here. Dear Mary, it's been a long time since I wrote a letter to someone. I find it very refreshing since everything is based off internet and technology. Forgive me, it's kind of hard to read your handwriting. I would really like you to do a series on Revelation. Your videos seem to go the opposite direction of what everyone else is talking about. For example, your Mark of the Beast video, you're not believing the vaccine is the mark of the beast, while everyone else is saying that it is, and things like that. I would really like more videos on this. I've been recently going through a divorce, and I originally found you from a quarantine relationship video, and I've been binge watching you ever since. I actually also started my prepper pantry because of you, and many other things. I also will be becoming a member of your Patreon, because I know how much work you put in, and you do it all for free with nothing in return. It's the least I could do. Do you think the world is going to end soon? Do you think we will go into martial law? What are your thoughts on fighting this? I know many people stormed the Capitol. It's been like hell broke loose lately. I think I've been struggling with depression because of all of it. How do you cover such topics and not get depressed? How do you do it? Feel free to write me back. I thank you again for all your work. Sincerely, Kent. Okay, well, Kent, you mentioned a couple things here. The first thing was Revelation. I got a lot of requests on Revelation, actually. And what's funny is that I talk very differently on what things are, because people are using biblical terms without knowing the Bible. They'll read like one verse or one book. The Bible is a whole picture. You know what I mean? You have to understand the entire word. You have to understand the metaphors. This is a highly metaphorical book. I happen to love metaphors because you guys know, some of you know, I used to want to definitely be in the music industry. I actually used to rap, and I used to always write songs. I was going to be a ghostwriter even, and I actually ended up getting signed when I was younger, and there was a lot of problems that happened. There was a lot of corruption. It was very nasty, and so was the modeling industry, so I turned both of those down. Well, I turned it down, and things happened that were awful, and it just turned me away from it in a sense. But I still write, but for myself and stuff like this. I love poetry, metaphors, words. I love words, always have. They saved my life when I was younger. was writing. So the Bible is very metaphorical, and I'm going to be doing a video because I have notes here, I think this one, where I keep in the beginning of my Bible, and it helps, and it's called biblical terminology. So when you see certain words, they actually mean something else. Like right here, I have white linen equals righteousness, and I define it through context of other chapters in the Bible, because the Bible defines the context for you, which I mentioned in a few of my videos. In Revelation, you know, it'll say water or sea. That is nations. That's a densely populated area. A lot of people who are trying to kind of dissect the book of Revelation, they're like, oh, well, New York or I'm sorry, they'll be like, you know, Italy is surrounded by water, and blah, blah. It's not water. Water means it's a lot of people. It's densely populated. It's a nation. And people don't know that there is the terminology. It's biblical terminology. It's not like, you know, literal. Like we talked about in another video of mine, the rock. Well, the rock isn't a rock. The rock, we know the rock is Jesus. So when we see a term or a verse in the Bible that's referring to the rock, well, we know they're referring to Jesus. Do you know what I mean? A beast, it's not like a beast. It's a kingdom. It's like a kingdom, you know? So there's a lot of terminology you have to understand when understanding the book of Revelation. And in order to understand that, you have to understand other books. It's a really, really big dissection. So that will take a lot more time. I suggest everyone to start reading and kind of learning that terminology, but I will, as I said before, I'm definitely going to be doing videos. They just take an extremely long time to put together. It's very, very deep. What else did he say? Do you think the world is going to end soon? No, I don't think so. I think we're in the end times, but like I said, I think we've been in the end times since, you know what they say, when the moment you're born, you're closer to death. The Bible talks about, you know, when you know the truth, and when you know, I always talk about being fluent in symbolism and all these other things. It talks about you're going to know when the season is here. It talks about no one knows the exact time and day, although we do, technically. It's a whole thing. And you'll know the season. You'll know, like, the time that's coming, and you can see it through social media. You can see, you know, what we just dissected on the Super Bowl. You can see all the satanic things. You can see how many women are losing their morals and not being women, and how many men are like becoming women, you know what I mean? And what I mean by this is like the mannerisms and things like that, and how things are just getting normalized even more than they were. You guys know that I haven't been to a movie since forever. Like I've always been very sensitive to movies, because I always been able to see what movies were. Like I don't like movies. I don't like going to movies. I don't like shows or like series on Netflix. People are like, oh, have you seen the series on Netflix? I never watch them. There's so much like sexual things involved in them that are like very strange, and just, I mean, things are getting so normalized, people don't even see it. There's so many things, and I don't even know how to get into it all, because it's just so much, like so much. There's always so much to talk about. I get overwhelmed in my brain. I think I've been struggling with depression. How do you do all this and not get depressed? Well, I remember I was reading this book by Jack Schick, and it was about Roman Catholicism and a lot of people who are tortured for their beliefs. And they were explaining the tortures, and it was horrifying. Very sensitive to things like that too, me in particular, and I had to stop reading the book. I couldn't, and I prayed, and I basically apologized, because I said, you know, I needed to take a break. It was really hard for me to learn, and I couldn't, you know, continue. And then I was listening to something else, and, you know, in the Bible it talks about the more knowledge you have, the more sorrow you will have. And I couldn't put that better if I tried. And it's so true, because you guys know that I constantly read. I know a lot. I know a lot through books, and I also know a lot through the streets, through street smarts, you guys know, who know me know I've been through the ringer with that. And I've had a very, I had a full-grown life of, you know, tribulation since before I was 20 years old. So that's probably why I grew up so quick, and I'm you know, the way that I am. But, you know, more knowledge brings more sorrow, and it's just something that you're going to need to learn how to handle. And in terms of being depressed, I always look at everything like an ocean, and you have your waves. You know, thank goodness it's like an ocean, right? Because waves always come and go. I've had a lot of pain in my life, physical pain, emotional pain, and every single time I realize that it's only temporary. And they say that, but it's like an ocean. You're gonna have rough waters, you're gonna have a rough wave, but thank goodness, thank God, it's not concrete. Thank God it's not stone. Do you know what I'm saying? That even if it is a phase or a wave of depression or a wave of weakness or a wave of you don't want to get out of bed or a wave of this, that, and the third, it's a wave. Waves have to come crashing, then they even out eventually. You might have 6 waves in a row, but eventually there has to be calm waters. That's just the natural law of it. So eventually it'll come to an end. As long as you keep knowing that you're going to be in this wave, in this ocean, you learn to accept these parts of life, you know? It's not something to fight. It's not something to be mean to yourself for. Of course, easier said than done. It's something that needs to be understood. And once you understood it and accept it and have God in your heart, and you know that He's going to take care of you, it's like a whole different field. It really is. But I've been trying to work on my worry. Naturally, I've always been such a big worrier. And I prayed a while ago and to help me with my worry. That's something I struggle with. I want to like control things. I want to make sure I'm okay. You know, being by myself since I was very young, I've always been this way. I've always been hyper responsible, very orderly, very making sure I got all my bills paid, all my ends met. And if all my ends were met, and it was just constant worry in my brain. Constant, am I going to be okay? Am I going to have this? Am I going to be able to provide this for myself? Am I going to keep myself secure here? Am I going to be safe doing this? Am I going to be safe meeting with this person? There's so many things that go in my head, and I eventually just said, you know what, I don't want to worry so much anymore. And, you know, God talks about this, you know, He's going to feed the sparrows. He's going to feed the animals of the grass. Why wouldn't He take care of you? You need not worry about what you know, how you get fed or how you get clothed. You need not worry about this. And that's something that I constantly replay in my head. And it's like what I talked about years ago when I talked about positive affirmations, and how, you know, this was when I was all like new age, how I would talk about positive affirmations and training my brain. And that is true in a sense. I used to write sticky notes all the time. People used to call me the sticky note queen, and I would write sticky notes everywhere. And I still have a lot of sticky notes, but now sticky notes are things I want to do videos on, or words that I'm learning, and Hebrew words and Greek words and Bible verses, and I have them all over the place. I have very disturbing, I mean, if you didn't know me and you like walked in my house or saw things I was doing, you would think I'm losing it or something. I don't know. Everything's gonna be okay, and you have to realize that no matter how much you worry about it, that's not gonna change the laws of what's meant to be and what's meant to come. It's just, you know, it won't. You'll always do your best, but, you know, so it's just something that takes time and growth, patience, and age with. So I appreciate your guys' letters. Again, if you guys want to write me about anything, talk about anything, give me topics and things to talk about on videos like these. I like to take the beginning of the videos and address them. So I had another email from a woman who wanted me to do things on reincarnation and how that ties in biblically. And I will be doing a video on that. Reincarnation, I don't believe, ties in at all biblically. It's a new age philosophy. It's, you know, God is the God of the living. He is not the God of the dead. He repeatedly says that. So we'll talk about that in a whole video. I told her that I would be more than happy to do a video on it, and I'm working on it as we speak. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about really quick was all these, I have books here because I've been learning more and more. Spring is coming, so I went to buy seeds, and I bought them off this website that was in a reference to this book. Let me show you. This book. I love this book. It's called Cold Times, Preparing for the Mini Ice Age. You guys know I've been talking about the Grand Solar Minimum, stuff like this. I mean, I've been so thoroughly involved in this book. I love this book. I've actually bought this book as well for someone. And in the back it gives resources and references. And I'm going to talk about it more thoroughly in another video. And it gave me this website to buy seeds from because a thing that not a lot of people know and that I didn't know, because again, I'm not a farmer and I want to be, you know, I want to grow my own food. I want to be like, I really want to be like a farmer, but I don't know squat. So I've been getting all these books. These are books I recommend. How to Grow More Vegetables by John Javins. These are all on my website as well. Food Preserving Without Freezing or Canning, Backyard Winter Gardening, Organic Farming, The Way to Ultra Low Cost Agriculture, great book. Seed to Seed, How to Preserve and Protect Seeds, stuff like this, also great. You want to have all of these reference books on hand at all times. So this book tells you so many awesome things you want to know that got lost in history. Like, we don't know how to make our own food. We don't know how to, you know, start fires and do all these things and protect us and blah, blah, blah. And this teaches you so much stuff. It teaches you about goats and, I mean, so many things. And on the back of it, it says go to rareseeds.com, which is the website I'm buying my seeds from. Awesome website. I bought so many seeds, but they haven't arrived yet. But I'm going to do a video on how I'm learning how to start the seeds, because over here in Chicago, it's very snowy, it's very cold, but soon it'll be spring. So right now I'm getting them ready. I'm sprouting them. So I am sprouting some so far, but those are hybrid seeds, so they don't like matter. They're just seeds that were cheap at the store that I'm practicing with. And then these seeds that I have coming in from the rareseeds.com website are non-hybrids. Now the reason why this is important is because the hybrid, they won't yield you like seeds every year. You know what I mean? They won't, you can't, these other seeds, they're non-hybrid, they're non-GMO, they're very quality seeds that you can harvest again and plant again year after year after year. You can trade them because this is valuable. They're going to start even cracking down more and more, which they already have been, on international seed trade. Mine are getting imported internationally, and they're going to make everything hybrid. They're going to make everything even like hybrid on steroids, where there's not even going to be like seeds involved. And it's just, you guys know I talk a lot about farming and food and how the whole industry is changing. Everything's becoming food tech. They're saying, you know, Biden is the food tech president, all these different things. And that's why it's important to get and jump on this train now, because I mean, what's so hard about growing, like, let's say one tomato plant? Just kind of learning how to do it. So I'm growing a lot of different things, and I just can't wait until I get my seeds in, because I really want to start practicing. So when I do move to an area of a lot of land, I want to kind of know what I'm doing. And I know that you're going to make mistakes and you're going to ruin things, and year after year you get better and better, but I'm very excited to do it. So I'm really excited. If you guys are interested, I will do like a haul video of the seeds that I buy and how I'm kind of going to sprout them and preserve them and stuff like this, because I'm learning it all, you know, and I'm very new to it. I'm not an expert, but I figured, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of you guys who are very new to it and not expert as well, so we can kind of be like dumb together and then be smart together with it, you know, like grow together, because I'm very ignorant with a lot of these things. So it'll be nice to see my mistakes and the things that I don't make mistakes on, and kind of see, you know, how that all goes. So I will be showing you guys that as well when I get my seeds. And I have a lot more videos coming. I've been working a lot. We finally reached 10,000 subscribers. It's been so hard because I've been so censored and so suppressed. A lot of you guys are saying that there's no notifications. I've been taking off all these different social medias, so I can't share my content. I can't, you know, do what I want to do. So it was so hard to get to that number, especially after they took down the videos, and all these other things were almost at 500,000 views on my channel. So that's really exciting. So I'm glad that I didn't quit, because boy, I really wanted to quit. Like, I was ready to just throw in the towel, and I still stuck with you guys. Still stuck with me, those of you who have. I know a lot of people are still here, but they don't even get the notification, so who knows when they last like seen one of my videos. So please continue to share my content. It really does help. I appreciate all the new subscribers here in the Obasi Posse. Really excited to have you here. We're learning a lot every single day. And all the books that I mentioned, I still have to update my website, but they are, these ones for sure, on my website. The only one that's not on my website, because I recently bought it, was How to Grow More Vegetables, which is a great one. You want to get this one. It's inexpensive. I got mine off thrift books. You guys know I love thrift books. Not sponsored. I don't make any money doing my YouTube, except for those of you guys who decided to support me on Patreon. And if you haven't, it really does help me. I really appreciate you guys who do support me on Patreon, because everything else is just doing it out of because I feel like it's important to know. Like I have this, you know, prerogative where I have to do these videos. So anyways, I just wanted to jump on here and give a quick update on what's going on, read these letters, and kind of talk with you guys a little bit. So with that being said, I'm going to make some jello. I'm on this weird jello kick. Don't ask me why. I don't know what's going on. When's the last time you guys had jello? I really like peach jello. So good. But either way, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys on my next video.